Apple's biggest event of the year is here. The invitation is out, and its two-word tagline has sparked more confusion than excitement.
But instead of excitement, this year's tagline has sparked confusion. 2 words, awe-dropping. But does it really live up to its name?
Awe-dropping? The internet immediately picked it apart. If your awe is dropping, isn't that a bad thing? And what about the drop in your bank account?
From a super thin iPhone Air to AI-powered Pro models, from health-focused Apple Watches to AirPods that track your heart, Apple's pushing refinements, but are they pushing boundaries? So let's cut through the hype. We're getting a new iPhone lineup, major health upgrades for the Watch and AirPods, but for many, these new features will feel familiar. Because here's the catch. Most of these new features, Android users have seen them for years. So is Apple still innovating or just perfecting?
Okay, so Apple's biggest event of the year is right around the corner, but the invitation has sparked a lot more confusion than excitement. The official tagline is just 2 words, and honestly, it's got everyone asking, what on earth is Apple trying to say here?
And here it is, awe-dropping. Now you get it, right? It's a play on jaw-dropping. It's supposed to signal this spectacular showcase of brand new tech. But does it really land? Well, the internet immediately, and I mean immediately, picked it apart. As one Reddit user pointed out, you don't actually want your awe to drop. That literally means it's decreasing, which, is not exactly a great sales pitch. And of course, the jokes didn't stop there. Other people instantly pointed to a different kind of drop, the one that's about to happen in their bank accounts. So with all this chatter, let's try and separate the marketing hype from the reality of what's actually coming.
So what can we actually expect to see on stage? Well, the star of the show, as always, is going to be the new iPhone 17 lineup.
And you can really see a clear division in Apple's strategy here. We're expecting this new super thin Air model to replace the Plus, which is all about portability. And then you've got the powerhouses, the Pro and Pro Max. They're rumored to get that brand new A19 Pro chip and a big jump to 12 gigs of RAM, which, let's be real, is a boost they're almost certainly going to need for Apple's demanding on-device AI features.
But hey, it's not just about the phones. Apple's wearables are apparently getting a major health-focused upgrade. The new Apple Watch is rumored to finally add blood pressure monitoring, and the long-awaited AirPods Pro 3 could introduce amazing features like heart rate monitoring directly in your ear.
So, here's the reality check. While all these new features sound really exciting for iPhone users, a lot of them might feel, well, pretty familiar to anyone who's been using an Android phone for the last few years.
And this slide just perfectly illustrates this long-running trend. I mean, those high refresh rate 120Hz displays rumored for all the iPhone 17 models? Yeah, Samsung's Galaxy S20 series had that back in 2020. That 12 gigabytes of RAM? We saw that in 2021. And vapor chamber cooling to stop the phone from overheating? The Razer Phone 2 had it way back in 2018.
Now, let's be super clear. This isn't to say the features won't be great. As Mashable points out, Apple is legendary for refining technology and making it fit seamlessly into their whole ecosystem. It's less about being the first to do something and way more about getting it right for their own users.
So all of this leads to a really critical question. If most of these updates are just incremental refinements instead of huge leaps, who are these new phones actually for?
It really seems like the days of the annual upgrade are pretty much over. If you look at user discussions, there's a clear trend. People are holding on to their phones for way longer, with the 5+ year cycle now being the most common. The real wow factor, it seems, is for people making a big jump after several years.
And this is the perfect example. If you're coming from a phone that's 4 or 5 years old, like an iPhone 12, the jump in performance, camera quality, and battery life is going to feel absolutely massive. It's a completely different world.
But then you have the flip side. For users who have last year's model, the story is totally different. Like this user says, the day-to-day experience is almost identical, which makes the incentive to spend another $1,000 much, much lower.
And that brings us to the price. For 7 years now, ever since the iPhone X, the Pro model has started at $999. But with inflation and all this advanced tech, a lot of people think that number is finally about to change. A price hike for the Pro model seems almost inevitable at this point.
So this brings us to the final and maybe the most important question about this whole cycle of tech launches.
This really forces us to ask, is what we're seeing true innovation, or is it just improvement? And based on these rumors, it's pretty clearly the latter. We're getting steady refinements, better cameras, faster chips, but the core experience of a smartphone isn't really being revolutionized.
So maybe the real innovation here isn't a single feature, but the strategy itself. By splitting the lineup into an ultra-thin Air for portability and a powerful Pro Max for performance, Apple is specializing its devices for different kinds of users. It's the exact same playbook they used with the Apple Watch and the Apple Watch Ultra.
And that brings us right back to awe-dropping. In a world where every single update is incremental, what does awe even mean anymore? Is it a slightly better camera, a faster chip, or maybe the real awe is just in the steady refinement and an ecosystem that just works? The real question is, what would it actually take for a new phone to leave you in awe?
In a world where upgrades feel incremental, what would it really take for a phone to leave you in awe?
This forces a bigger question. In an age of incremental updates, what does awe even mean anymore? Is it a slightly better camera, a faster chip, or is the real innovation not what's in the phone, but who it's actually for?